Welcome to this edition of Diligence Inside America's Boardrooms. I'm TK Kerstetter, and I'll be your host for today's show. Today, we're going to be talking about a new climate and ESG leadership certification program announced by Diligent that can positively position corporate boards with their investors and other interested constituents. And joining me to discuss that program is one of the heads of it. Please welcome Dottie Schindlinger, who is the Executive Director of the Diligent Institute. Welcome back, Dottie.
Thank you, TK. As always, it's a pleasure to be here with you on the show.
I first need you to describe exactly what the Climate Leadership Certificate is, and then why it is considered phase one of the ESG leadership program. Who's eligible, and then how does the program work?
Sure, I'm happy to. Well, first of all, I think all of your viewers can attest that this has been a year of incredible pressure coming down on directors and senior leaders of companies to have a strategy and to have an answer about how they are addressing climate change. The IPCC report that came out earlier this year, the messages coming out of COP26 and Davos, all the signs point in the same direction, that climate change is real, that it is causing a great deal of stress on so many different systems, and is going to have an incredible impact on businesses, both positively and negatively. There's a real opportunity in terms of renewable energies and the opportunity to innovate, but there's also an incredible amount of risk. And so we decided that this was a great time to provide some educational opportunities for corporate directors and C-suite executives on climate change. Climate change is a very technical topic. It requires a great deal of knowledge about climate science and climate financial markets, carbon markets, greenhouse gas accounting, just a whole host of issues to be able to oversee that risk appropriately. So we decided to put together this certificate program. We're working with partners at Glass Lewis, and we've also been working with a number of experts at Kirkland & Ellis to put together the curriculum for the content and also to decide what speakers we should reach out to for the program. So the program is going to be 6 courses. It's an e-learning program that you can take at your own pace beginning on February 1st. And you'll be required to take 4 courses that are requirements. And then there are 2 electives that you can select from a possible 4 choices. And we don't recommend that you try to take more than 1 course a week because the courses are pretty extensive, but you can complete the program in as little as 6 weeks, or you can take up to 6 months to complete the program. And then at the end of the program, we will be offering a live or hybrid event, depending on what happens with COVID, obviously, and travel restrictions, to provide an update briefing from regulators, investors, and others in the industry, as well as to have a little bit of a graduation ceremony for those who've completed the program.
And who is eligible to participate?
Well, it's a great question, TK. I mean, the program is really being designed specifically for corporate directors and senior leaders of companies. And so we're talking about C-suite executives and board members. We have had others that have expressed interest in the program, and we're able to accommodate them because we're able to create cohorts within the e-learning platform so that when directors are going through the program, they can be speaking with their peers, and the same thing with C-suite executives and then others at the VP level or elsewhere within a company. So we're not really turning anyone away, but we are being very careful to make sure that when you're in the e-learning platform, you're able to communicate with your peers and really learn from others that are going through some of the same challenges that you are.
I suspect that we'll see some corporate secretaries and GCs take it, knowing how sensitive they are. They'll want to first go through and make sure that they're comfortable with it, and then sort of give the okay to boards. I found that over my years to be a process that many of them go through. But when I look at it from the number of people that inquire to us about ESG and trying to get their arms around it and whatever, I think just that alone is a great education. But tell us about some of the other advantages to individuals who are going to go through the program.
Well, one of the biggest advantages is that, every board right now is really trying to grapple with these issues. And again, these are very highly technical issues. It kind of reminds me, TK, of where we were about 5 years ago with the way that boards were trying to oversee cyber risk, right? So cyber risk, another very highly technical topic, obviously representing enterprise-wide levels of risk and something that boards need to be able to oversee and do right. And yet, just may not have the technical knowledge or experience to make really good decisions on issues related to cyber. Well, the same is true for climate risk. You really probably would be hard pressed to think of another existential level risk as great as climate change, because if climate change is as severe as is being predicted, the entire world will end. And so, this really is about as existential as it gets. But being able to make good decisions for your company about, workforce and supply chain and what areas to invest in, where to innovate, these things require some knowledge of the issues involved, the landscape of the different providers out there, who's certifying things like greenhouse gas emissions, what's happening on the regulatory landscape and the litigation landscape. You really need to have a good grounding in some of these issues and understand some of the history and where we're heading. And so the program is really designed to give directors that level of confidence and competence in the material so they can make the best decisions.
So the first thing that actually came to my mind as an advantage is having the ability to sort of, announce in the proxy that, these directors have been certified, and it shows an effort by board members to, get on top of this topic. And whether it was on the website or worst of all, if you're having an engagement with a institutional investor where they want to come in and talk about this, knowing that that a board has been through this certification might very well, say, okay, here's a company we don't need to have an engagement with because they get it. So that seems to be other benefits for somebody going through the program.
Well, absolutely. And in fact, we have institutional investors and proxy advisors and others who are helping to be presenters in the program. And, a good example is Glass Lewis, who's decided to partner with us on this program. They're very excited that we're offering this program because they want to see more directors that have these skills and have this knowledge and experience base. So they're very supportive of the program. In fact, the head of their ESG research unit is going to be one of the presenters in the program. So I think what we're trying to do is really bring together all the voices that are making a lot of this pressure and making a lot of this noise in the market, and have them talk directly to directors about the things that they feel directors need to be aware of. And so I think you're going to get a lot of value out of this program. And these are the same individuals who'll be looking for directors who have these skills. They're also the presenters in the program. So I think that speaks very well if you're trying to, demonstrate to these different parties that you have the skills and the knowledge needed to do a good job. This is a good way to do that.
So all of this sounds great. And so where can somebody get the details and sign up for the program? And also, could someone sign up their whole board?
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, we'd be welcome to have them. And again, as I mentioned, we have the ability to create cohorts within the e-learning platform. And so if someone were to reach out to us and let us know they'd like the entire board to go through the program, if they wanted, we could set them up as a cohort and they could go through it together. So the best way to get information is to go to diligent.com. On the diligent.com website, you'll find a section under ESG called the Climate Leadership Certificate Program. And you can go right there, get all the information and register. And if you run into any problems or have any questions, just send an email to climateleadership@diligent.com, and that will reach me and my team. We'll be happy to get you any information that you need.
Well, I've certainly been impressed with everything that you guys have done with the Institute. And this is just an extension of all that work, and something that I think Diligent is going to be proud of when, we get down the road away, because this is something that's confusing to most. It's not going away. It's good that somebody's doing something about it that's tangible, that you can get your arms around. So I tip my hat to you and your team and to Diligent, and hopefully this will work out as you guys have envisioned.
Thank you so much, TK. And again, the first cohort is going to be beginning on February 1st, 2022. Registration is due by January 14th. And then we'll be reopening registration for the March cohort after that. So make sure to get your registration in right after the holidays.
Dottie, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us.
Thank you so much, TK.
And that will conclude this edition of Inside America's Boardrooms. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back again next week when we take another look at a critical topic that'll help you be a better board member or committee member. So we'll see you then.